Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschachade Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it was suggested that I read verses starting with text number 4. So Adi Leela, chapter 5, and I'm going to read the introduction to the chapter because it's very nice. And let's see what happens here. The glories of Nityananda Balaram. This chapter is chiefly devoted to describing the essential nature and glories of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Lord Sri Krishna is the absolute personality of Godhead, and his first expansion in a form for pastimes is Sri Balaram, paragraph. Beyond the limitation of picture, Prabhupada's task, his assignment of presenting who is Lord Chaitanya to the world that they don't know. Before Chaitanya Charitamrita came teachings of Lord Chaitanya because Prabhupada didn't know if he would be able to, how long he would live. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which is like a summary study of. But then, here we go. Beyond the limitation of this material world is the spiritual sky, Paravyoma, which has many spiritual planets, the supreme of which is called Krishna Loka. Krishna Loka, the abode of Krishna, has 3 divisions, which are known as Dwaraka, Mathura, and Gokula. In that abode, the personality of Godhead expands himself into 4 plenary portions: Krishna, Balaram, Pradyumna, the transcendental Cupid, and Aniruddha. They are known as the original quadruple forms, paragraph. In Krishna Loka is a transcendental place known as Sweta Dweep or Vrindavan. Below Krishna Loka, in the spiritual sky, there are the Vaikuntha planets. On each Vaikuntha planet, a 4-handed Narayana, expanded from the first quadruple manifestation, is present. The personality of Godhead, known as Sri Balaram in Krishna Loka, is the original Sankarshan, parentheses, attracting deity. And from this Sankarshan expands another Sankarshan called Maha Sankarshan, which is kind of like counterintuitive. The original is Sankarshan, the one expanded from the original is Maha. So be it. Who resides in one of the Vaikuntha planets. By his internal potency, Maha Sankarshana maintains the transcendental existence of all the planets in the spiritual sky, where all the living beings are eternally liberated souls. The influence of The material energy is conspicuous there by its absence. On those planets, the second quadruple manifestation is present. Paragraph. Outside the Vaikuntha planets is the impersonal manifestation of Sri Krishna, which is known as Brahmaloka. So terminology. Commonly, which for us, it's commonly at least Brahmajyoti, but also Brahmaloka. On the other side of Brahmaloka is the spiritual Karna Samudra, or causal ocean. The material energy exists on the other side of the causal ocean without touching it. In the causal ocean is Mahavishnu, the original Purusha expansion from Sankarshana, meaning Mahasankarshana. Mahavishnu places his glance over the material energy, and by a reflection of his transcendental body, he amalgamates himself within the material elements. Reflection of his transcendental body. He amalgamates himself, personal, within the material elements. So, Shirodakshay Vishnu. As the source of the material elements, the material energy is known as pradhana, and as the source of the manifestations of the material energy, it is also known as maya. But material nature is inert in that she has no independent power to do anything. She is empowered to make the cosmic manifestation by the glance of Mahavishnu. Therefore, the material energy is not the original cause of the material manifestation. Rather, the transcendental glance of Mahavishnu over material nature produces that cosmic manifestation. Paragraph. Mahavishnu again enters every universe as the reservoir of all living entities. Garbhodakshay Vishnu. From Garbhodakshay Vishnu expands Shirodakshay Vishnu, the supersoul of every living entity. So here is Shirodakshay Vishnu making his appearance, and it's not clear to me. By a reflection of his, the top of the page at least, by a reflection of his transcendental body, he amalgamates himself within the material elements. So it's not Shirodakshay Vishnu exactly, but he amalgamates himself within the material elements. Garbhodakshay Vishnu also has his own Vaikuntha planet in every universe, where he lives as the super soul or supreme controller of the universe. Garbhodakshay Vishnu reclines in the midst of the watery portion of the universe and generates the first living creature of the universe, Brahma. The imaginary universal form is a partial manifestation of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Paragraph. On the Vaikuntha planet, in every universe, is an ocean of milk. On the Vaikuntha planet, in every universe, is an ocean of milk. And within that ocean is an island called Sweta Dweep, where Lord Vishnu lives. Therefore, this chapter describes two Sweta Dweeps, one in the abode of Krishna and the other in the ocean of milk in every universe. The Svetadweep in the abode of Krishna is identical with Vrindavan Dham, which is the place where Krishna appears himself to display his loving pastimes. In the Svetadweep within every universe is a Shesha form of Godhead, who serves Vishnu by assuming the form of his umbrella, slippers, couch, pillows, garments, residence, sacred thread, throne, and so on. Paragraph. Lord Baladev in Krishna Loka is Nityananda Prabhu. Therefore, Nityananda Prabhu is the original Sankarsana. And Mahasankarsana is his expansion as the Purushas in the universes, plural. And his expansions as the Purushas in the universes are plenary expansions of Nityananda Prabhu. We discussed this first day. In this chapter, the author has described the history that comes at the very end of his leaving home for a personal pilgrimage to Vrindavan and is achieving all success there. In this description, it is revealed that the author's original parental home and birthplace were in the district of Katwa, in the village of Jamatapura, which is near Naihati. Krishnadas Kaviraj's brother invited Sri Maniketan Ramdas, a great devotee of Lord Nityananda, to his home. But a priest named Gunarnava Mishra did not receive him well, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's brother, not recognizing the glories of Lord Nityananda, also took sides with the priest. Therefore, Ramdas became sorry. Maniketan Ramdas broke his flute and went away. This was a great disaster for the brother of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. But on that very night, Lord Nityananda Prabhu himself graced Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in a dream and ordered him to leave on the next day for Vrindavan. End of introduction. That's the summary of the chapter. Now, the chapter, and starting with text 1, and a little background before text 4. Let me offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose opulence is wonderful and unlimited. By his will, even a fool can understand his identity. First verse. So we're fools, but maybe we can understand. All glory, so this is a refrain, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaura Bhaktivinoda. I have described the glory of Sri Krishna Chaitanya in 6 verses. Now, in 5 verses, I shall describe the glory of Lord Nityananda. First, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the fountainhead of all his incarnations. Lord Balaram is his second body. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna, the Absolute Personality of Godhead, is the primeval Lord, the original form of Godhead, and his first expansion is Sri Balaram. The Personality of Godhead can expand himself in innumerable forms. The forms that have unlimited potency are called Svangsa, and the forms that have limited potencies to living entities are called Vibhinangshas. Text 5. These two are one and the same identity. They differ only in form. Lord Balaram is the first bodily expansion of Krishna, and he assists Lord Krishna in transcendental pastimes. Purport. Lord Balaram is a Svangsha expansion of the Lord, and therefore there is no difference in potency between Krishna and Balaram. The only difference is in their bodily structure. As the first expansion of Godhead, Balaram is the chief deity among the first quadruple forms. Now, why is he the chief deity? Because Vasudeva is one of the four. And he is the foremost assistant of Sri Krishna in his transcendental activities. Text 6. That original Lord Krishna appeared in Navadvip as Lord Chaitanya, and Balaram appeared with him as Lord Nityananda. May Sri Nityananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshan, Sheshanag, and the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean, Garbha ocean, and ocean of milk are his plenary portions and the plenary portions of his plenary portions, or the Kala. Technical. Purport. Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami has recorded this verse in his diary to offer his respectful obeisances to Lord Nityananda. This verse also appears as the 7th of the 14 verses in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Text 8. Lord Balaram is the original Sankarsana. He assumes 5 other forms to serve Lord Krishna. That's already been mentioned. The original Sankarsana expands as 5. He himself helps in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and he does the work of creation in 4 other forms, the Vishnu forms and Anantashesha. He executes the orders of Lord Krishna in the work of creation, and in the form of Lord Shesha, he serves Lord Krishna in various ways. Purport. According to expert opinion, Balaram is the chief of the original quadruple forms. Is also the original Sankarshan. Balaram, the first expansion of Krishna, expands himself in 5 forms: Maha Sankarshan, Karanadakshayi, Garbhodakshayi, Shirodakshayi, and Shesha. These 5 plenary portions are responsible for both the spiritual and material cosmic manifestations. In these 5 forms, Lord Balaram assists Lord Krishna in his activities. The first 4 of these forms are responsible for the cosmic manifestation, whereas Shesha is responsible for the personal service of the Lord. Shesha is called Ananta, or unlimited, because he assists the personality Godhead in his unlimited expansions by performing an unlimited variety of services. Sri Balaram is the servitor Godhead who serves Lord Krishna in all affairs of existence and knowledge. So Sat and Chit. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is the same servitor Godhead, Balaram performs the same service to Lord Gauranga by constant association. And text 11. In all the forms, he tastes the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. That same Balaram is Lord Nityananda, the companion of Lord Gauranga. So text 12. I have explained the 7th verse in 4 subsequent verses. By these verses, all the world can know the truth about Lord Nityananda. Now, as he expanded verse number 7 from the original 11, etc., these 4 verses are going to be explained further. It's very structured. It's very careful, scientific. In such a manner as the author is saying that even a fool can understand. No, fool may not understand even if it's so plain, but the potency is there, so it's very clear. We can all consider ourselves foolish, and hopefully we can understand at least the principle, the structure. I'd like to read this again. The first 4 of these forms, so the first 4 starts with Mahasankarshan. That's number 1. And then the 3 Vishnus. So the first 4, it means including Mahasankarshan. The first 4 of these forms are responsible for the cosmic manifestations, plural. Whereas Shesha is responsible for personal service to the Lord. And the personal service to the Lord is whatever the Lord wants. It's something like the model that Prabhupada used, that he had a personal secretary. And then it became the personal secretary was a GBC member and on rotation and so forth. Or a government officer may have a personal secretary. And the personal secretary knows everything that the king or the president or the prime minister or whoever he's the secretary of, he knows everything. That person must be very trustworthy and confidential and et cetera, but because they know everything. Uddhava is not identified as a personal secretary, but it's something like that, because Uddhava knew everything. And Uddhava was highly intelligent. So Mahasankarshana, similarly, because there's the Sankarshana in the spiritual world, Balaram, and also Nityananda. But then there's the expansion for the purpose of mature creation. So that the 3 Vishnu forms and Mahasankarshan. Because Mahasankarshan expands himself to manifest the 3 Purushas, or the 3 Vishnu forms. So exactly the function of Maha Sankarshan other than expanding the three Vishnu forms? It's not clear. Perhaps there's some job description somewhere, or his function description somewhere. But he is like overseas at least, and they're his expansions. So they do what he wants because he and they, all four, are responsible for material creation in all phases of time. Time as we know it, past, present, or future time. It's not easy to understand the position of eternal time in contrast with past, present, and future time, other than for the purpose of material creation, there has to be past, present, or future. Creation means there has to be a beginning. And for anything that has a beginning, it has an end. And then where does that beginning and end come from? From the eternal. Do that again, please. Sure. Everything comes from a source. There's not multiple sources. Everything comes from a source. And the source has everything within it. And the eternal time is within that source. And for the purpose of creation. So then why creation? Or, the questions are a little bit rhetorical. So then the analyzing instrument, the intelligence, can't quite. Eternal time produces past, present, or future time. Eternal time, it's not, it produces, it's just the appearance of, and then the appearance of is also a form of Maya. You step back, and does it really exist? It really exists, but it exists temporary. Just philosophically, you can spin out. Here we are sitting in a room. Does it exist? Of course it exists. Is it temporary? Of course it's temporary. So if it's temporary, then it doesn't exist, right? Now if you're a Mayavadi, then it doesn't exist. It's asat. And only that which is sat exists. So then that's the conundrum of philosophy. Well, certainly it exists. But now you see it, now you don't. It may be slow, but, manifest and then not manifest. And that's the whole of mature creation. And anything, family and emotion and, anything. Anything. It's temporary because it's created. And so the potency from which it's created, this is Sankhya philosophy. It's nice. I mean, it's not easy to understand, and the higher understanding, the way to really understand it, is have a transcendental brain. Most of us have sawdust instead of a transcendental brain, so it's not easy to understand. So you have to hear it again and hear it again and hear it again and hear it again and hear it again, and say, really don't understand it after hearing it again. So the focus, the purpose of all of this, one of the main purposes of all this is of understanding Nityananda, is because he's the original guru. He's revealing the spiritual realm. He's revealing the absolute truth, and he by expanding the material energy, built within the material energy, is a means to realize the transcendence, that which is beyond past, present, or future, or beyond the temporary, or beyond the modes of nature, or beyond. And then comes what's that beyond? Then, if you're impersonalist, then it's nothingness, or it's Brahman, because that's Sat. But Sat isn't independent. There's this nice phrase. Yeah. Anantashesh assists, this is in the purport for text 10. Anantashesha assists the personality Godhead in his unlimited expansions by performing an unlimited variety of services. Sri Balaram is the servitor Godhead who serves Krishna in the affairs of all existence and knowledge. So Sat and Chit. So that's the original spiritual master gives knowledge, or he is the source of knowledge, or the Adi Guru. He's not the Adi everything. That's Govinda. Sarva Karana Karanam. The Adi Purusha. But he's the Adi source of knowing Bhagavan. He reveals Bhagavan. And just like that nice pastime we heard yesterday, when Nityananda reached Navadvip, no one could find him. And Lord Chaitanya had to reveal him. There he is. And there he was. They couldn't find him. So vice versa. The revelation of Bhagavan is through the medium of Nityananda. Here, I'll read the sentence again. 2 sentences. Anantashesha assists the personality Godhead in his unlimited expansions by performing an unlimited variety of services. Sri Balaram is the servitor Godhead who serves Lord Krishna in all affairs of existence and knowledge. But he existence and knowledge, Sat and Chit. But the Chit, when it's complete, is to understand the source, Bhagavan, Krishna. So it's complete. Without Nityananda, it's not complete. So Gaur Purnima is important. It's superlatively important. And Nityananda Trayodasi is superlative important. Because without Nityananda, how are we going to understand Lord Chaitanya? We won't. The Leela, the history, the pastimes, wonderful. Well, to understand it, I'll just end with this, that, the gift that Srila Prabhupada gave to the world, copies during the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the printing press was just getting started or utilized. But to get a copy of Chaitanya Bhagavat or Chaitanya Charitamrita, like super rare, or anything, the Bhagavatam, anything. So the Yukta Vairagya principle, as printing became more sophisticated, Prabhupada wanted our own printing press, and that lasted for a while because it wasn't adequate quality or quantity. So Dynapan, and then other printers that could produce quality and quantity. And Prabhupada examined carefully when the printing came out, etc. And gave the world Chaitanya Charitamrita and teachings of Lord Chaitanya and all of this that the world didn't know in such a short time. In such a short time, starting from the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he produced a little booklet to give the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, that the life and precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English, like 86 pages, little skinny thing, with offset printing that's guys like all the letters are not lined up. And then this. What a treasure. What a gift. And what to speak of all the other facets of what Prabhupada had and what he gave. That little sound recording that wouldn't play yesterday, just hearing the Prabhupada playing harmonium, so sweet. I mean, he wasn't yet singing, but it's just like setting the mood of, and with subtleties and pauses and moving on to the next note, and he was in another world. I remember I've told this story many times, but guarding Prabhupada's quarters at night, looking, because the Henry Street Temple was two side-by-side buildings, and the temple room was on one side, Prabhupada's quarters were on the other side, and where the temple room was big, and then Prabhupada's side, it was big, and at night he'd sit with alone and his harmonium and sing. I mean, it's as busy in management and translation and this and that, and people with conflicts and problems, and he sat for 20 minutes and just sang. And when he was singing, who was he singing to? Out of this world. Let's hope get back to Adi Lila chapter 5. Introducing to the world who is Lord Nityananda. So plainly that even a fool can understand. At least in the words of the author himself. Okay, so let's see if there's some discussion. 10 minutes after 8.
Gurumaharaj, this is a personal sharing. Yesterday, after your class, I received a call from a close family member, and I had a 3-hour. Yes.
Your family.
Yes.
Yeah.
I ended up having a 3-hour conversation with them. And the short of it is that they were coming out in the open for the first time, that for the last 11 years, they have been systematically groomed by a bowel in all this impersonalist philosophy and brainwashed, and there has been emotional and financial abuse. And all the classic that we hear from Prabhupada, this person is Krishna, he wants to make disciples, he's grooming the women to be Radha, all of this. And I'm just appreciating the protection that we have under the shelter of the original spiritual master, Lord Nityananda. And then Srila Prabhupada taking the painstaking effort. All of this information that you read, Guru Maharaj, is quite baffling for me. What to speak of what you read about Lord Varaha yesterday in the PowerPoint. I've been quite bewildered and I can't sort it out with my sawdust brain. And yet, even with that, for the 2 decades that Lord Nityananda has allowed me to be under his shelter, there is such protection, even without fully understanding. So it just came to light for me after this interaction with this family member of what a contribution Srila Prabhupada has made, and you have made, and Lord Nityananda have made to us to keep us sheltered from. There's a lot of nonsense out there, even today. It's not just during the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and, all that we read about Bhishika Sen and so forth.
Abundant misinformation. And there are systems for propagating misinformation that information and misinformation are and then the materialists and the roar of the material energy and someone comes along and they get hooked by something. So anyone have something else?
I have a question as well. In the introduction to the chapter, there was a sentence that in the spiritual sky, material energy is conspicuous by its absence.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, why would you even miss the material energy when you're in the spiritual sky? Why would it be even conspicuous by its absence?
Well, a definition that's both inclusive and exclusive. That's why. Because people may, using this example you just gave, they may think the spiritual world is like the material world, not the other way around. So conspicuous by its absence. So definition, there's no modes of nature, there's no influence of time. But anything material is conspicuous by its absence. Conspicuous by its absence, not just absent, but conspicuous. For a proper definition or a comprehensive definition. 3 hours, huh? Oof. Okay, anything else?
This is Sachisuta Prabhu's question.
Who?
Sachisuta Prabhu.
Sachisuta.
Krishna is the fountainhead, and first expansion is Balaram, original Sankarshana, and expands as Vishnu forms. What is the function of Narayana versus 3 forms of Vishnu?
Well, the three forms of the distinction. There's not. The question is not where what's the family tree, or what's the sequence of manifestation. The question is function. One is a function of the spiritual, the other is a function of the material realm. Vishnu forms expand the material creation under the order of the personality of Godhead. Now, to respond a little bit further to his question, I'm sure he's aware of Lord Brahma saying to Krishna, "You are the original Narayana." And then when Krishna says, "Lord Brahma, what are you saying? I'm just a young boy, and Narayana is in the spiritual sky." And then he goes into a definition of what Narayana means. Nara, all living entities, and Ayana, the shelter of all living entities. So you are the original Narayana, and then there's the Narayana, that's the shelter of all the living entities in Vaikuntha realm, but that's not all the living entities. You're the original Narayana. Now, the Narayana function is in the Vaikuntha planets, with the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, etc., by different names depending upon where the symbols of Vishnu is just the common language that we use, but the symbols of the Supreme Lord, 2 and 2, that's 4 hands. So that's the difference of function.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I just had this question about what should be the exact prayer.
Exact prayer.
Exact prayer for
I
today.
can give you approximate, but not exact.
And the reason I asked this question is because for the past few days, Maharaj, I'm not feeling the quality of my sadhana. I don't think it's going good. So, how to beg for mercy, especially on this day?
How to? Very simple recommendation is those who are at the feet of Nityananda, you go to those people. You want a list of who has at his feet? This evening we're going to hear something about Vrindavan Das Thakur. He was the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat and this Nityananda Charitamrita. And, he knows. And so he knows he has this intimate relationship. Krishna Das Kaviraj also. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the focus of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but he also has intimate understanding. So you go to those who have closest for this particular day. That's what your question is. You go to those people and you hear from them and you offer prayers to them and to try to do some service to them. So what are you supposed to do service to them? You take their message and you spread their message. To your capacity, within your nature. And, our book distribution team will celebrate with you as you see what you can do in your little capacity to see that people receive Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so it's a little service that you can do for the Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. He spent, like Prabhupada spent, the remaining days of his life preparing Chaitanya Charitamrita, so that we would know, not guesswork. And and for forever forward in time because of what he did. And the original manuscript is available. It's like super special. And then those persons who Krishnadas Kaviraj looks up to, the two names that he mentions are Rupa and Raghunath. So go for it. And if your sadhana is not going so well the last few days, so make your spiritual connections stronger. Because it's Nityananda's appearance day, focus on him. And how to focus on him. Focus on those who are focused on him. Anything else? Anything else online? No. Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. In your first lecture, you had given like series of pranam mantra for Lord Nityananda.
Yeah.
So is there like one that is one to recite?
Well, that's a good one. You want more than one?
No, because there's multiple.
No, there's a pranam mantra specifically.
Yes.
Pranam mantra.
Yes.
That's it. If you want it again, I can send it to you. You want it again?
Yes.
You would like me to send it to you? You have a copy. She'll send it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it. And it's nice to remember him in relation to Lord Chaitanya, so the Panchatattva mantra is kind of universal. But and in the beginning of this, chapter 5, the description of the two lords is right at the very beginning. So those are 3 places. But the one prana mantra, that's sufficient. And again, become a little immersed in it. In part because we're not used to being immersed in Lord Nityananda. We're very immersed in Hare Krishna mantra and other things. Lord Chaitanya. And so spend special time with his prana mantra, meditation, and be connected to him.
This is from Amara Mataji.
Again.
Yeah.
Sachi Sutta. First.
Amara Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj, for reading about the glories of Lord Nityananda. This is such a joy to situate our minds in glories of the Supreme Lord, away from useless hassles of material activities. Lord Nityananda's blissful demeanor attracts us to learn more about him and his service mood. The time when he was transcendently sad and was in tears was when Lord Chaitanya shared about his sannyas decision.
Yeah.
His love for the Lord is very attractive. My question is about going deeper in application of Yukta Vairagya.
Yukta Vairagya.
And how can we make our services in material world more direct in service to Guru and Krishna?
How to? By becoming Krishna conscious. How to become Krishna conscious. So that it's a gradual progress towards that objective. And Krishna will give intelligence to a sincere person And so you associate with others that are sincere and do service in relation to those who are sincere, and sincerely try to serve those who are sincere. And your sincerity quota goes up. Krishna can then give better intelligence, etc., etc. So you can mold your life in such a way. I was just thinking, when she was asking this question, my vantage point is that of a sannyasi, not a grahastha that's got to get up and go to work and sit with people doing stuff. I don't have to do that. I help people that are doing that, but how refreshing are these messages? Quite a contrast. And then and then comes her question. It's not like balance. It's how to spiritualize the purpose more, and have strong sadhana, so that the purpose more becomes more prominent. And then as you're going through your day, you're carrying that with you because it's with you, because of the daily morning and evening sadhana, and as circumstance permits, the opportunity to extend that to others, the preaching power, or preaching and teaching. Anyone that teaches knows you learn best through teaching, so you could assimilate. So just, move your life in that direction. Preaching, teaching, strong sadhana, praying to Krishna. So, because otherwise it's the material life continues. It's a self-perpetuating system, and very easy to, once one is in, not so easy to get out. And it's very easy to fall back into that tendency. So as we heard, being protected by hearing carefully, regularly and carefully. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.